Happy Wednesday, Carl's Wine Club members, Canadian wine lovers. Here we are, Wednesday evening, depending on where you guys are at across the country. So, favorite day of the week where we sip on wine, we talk about wine, we have guests, and yeah, this week it's the Okanagan Crush Pad week here at Carl's Wine Club. So it's a great week. It's finally spring here in the Okanagan. The weather is warming up. Things are blossoming outside. We can see some bud breaks happening a little bit down in the southern part of the valley. So yeah, it really smells springs out there. It feels like spring, and you have no idea how many emails we're getting that people, our members, are starting traveling. And the wine country is always at the top of their list. So we are so thrilled and excited to host many members throughout the summer. So keep emailing us, letting us know when you guys are coming, because we want to meet in person. We already did last week. We went for lunch with members from Ontario. We set them up for like dozens of visits at wineries. So yeah, finally post-COVID, feels like post-COVID. It smells like post-COVID. And I am out of my COVID bout as well, feeling better and ready to rock. We don't have Mira today. She is in the car at soccer with the kids, but she's going to be back around 5:30. So for all of the Mira fans across the country, stay with us because Mira's going to be here. I would say 5:40, time that she comes back, or maybe 5:30, depending on how soccer goes. But it's right around the corner here. Anyhow, it is the Okanagan Crush Pad week. We have a super awesome lineup of wine this week to offer to members, and diversity of their portfolio, purity of fruit, and the story behind the Okanagan Crush Pad, and the four label that they offer, all different tiers, all different perspective on each and every label. So there's so much to talk about when it's time to talk about the Okanagan Crush Pad, located in our backyard, right here in Summerland. So in our neck of the hood, so proud to call Summerland home now after the move from West Kelowna. By the way, I just loving living in Summerland, right in the middle of wine country. So there's nothing better than that. And yeah, the Okanagan Crush Pad, an awesome project. We're gonna have someone joining us from the Crush Pad. She's in the green room right now, but we're going to bring her in a few, in let's say 3-minute times. Mira, Jody's with us, and she's going to join us to talk about more in detail about the story behind the Crush Pad, the story about the owners and the founders, more about the winemaker. But what I'm interested in is the philosophy, the organic philosophy, but also they're one of the only ones to use mostly concrete eggs and clay amphora. So it's really to give some very defined treats to the wine. So I'm excited to talk about that with Jody and regarding the whole portfolio, and especially what we have this week in Carl's Wine Club's very exclusive fact, because I think there's only one wine you can find online. Everything else, it's either back vintages, library release, or just not available at all anywhere. So it's a pretty cool lineup of wines with different angles, different perspective. So it's exciting. I want to say a couple words in French to our people in Quebec before we bring Jody in. So Jody, hang tight. Just going to say a few words to our Francophone members, then I'm right back with you. We're going to bring you on. Bonjour, Daryl. Daryl from Ontario. Glad to have you in, because we're having a heck of a good Pinot Noir tonight. Daryl is a fan of Pinot, a Pinot lover, the Hay Warrior 2019 Seacrest Mountain single vineyard from Oliver. It's pretty darn good. So Daryl, hang tight. I'm going to do a little blurb in French and we'll be right back. Bonjour à tous nos membres, tous les amateurs de vin francophones, les amateurs de vin canadiens. Un beau bonsoir à tout le monde à travers la belle province, à travers le Canada, de toutes nos régions francophones, de tous nos membres qui parlent français. On voulait vous dire un beau bonjour. Merci de nous supporter. Merci d'être avec nous ce soir. Cette semaine, c'est la semaine du Okanagan Crush Pad, un projet fantastique qui a commencé, je vous dirais, il y a à peu près une quinzaine d'années maintenant, qui sont propriétaires de 400 acres de vignes à travers l'Okanagan, principalement un gros holding à Summerland, un single vineyard à Oliver, puis aussi dans Garnet Valley. Donc, trois beaux vineyards qui offrent les fruits du Okanagan Crush Pad, sont sous 4 différents labels, le Bisou Yukon, le Narrative, Haywire, et aussi Freeform. Donc, cette semaine, on vous offre des options de 4, des 4 labels, les vins je vous dirais, d'un prix incroyable, prix compétitif, le Bisou Yukon à 19,99. Les vins, c'est des vins qui sont parfaits pour les barbecues. Donc, les vins de valeur, que je dirais, sont offerts, le blanc et le rouge, qui sont des blancs, des assemblages. Aussi, les narratives. La narrative, on a le Syrah 2018, qui est 92 points, Carl's Wine Club, aussi le Malbec, un Malbec du Nouveau Monde, mais avec aussi des traits du Old World, quelque chose de très, très unique. Donc, narrative, on a la Syrah, le Malbec, mais aussi le Rosé, 50% Gamay, 50% Pinot Noir. Et les deux vins de vignoble unique, de sélection parcellaire, de Haywire, Seacrest Mountain. Seacrest Mountain à Oliver, un vin de haute altitude, un Chardonnay que je vous dirais que c'est probablement le meilleur Chardonnay que j'ai goûté cette année. J'ai donné 93 points, un Chardonnay fantastique de 2018 maintenant qui est qui est absolument au top de sa cour présentement. Donc, un Chardonnay spectaculaire, puis ils font aussi un Pinot Noir. J'ai donné 91 points plus. C'est des vins purs, des vins représentatifs du vignoble qui sont été fermentés naturellement aussi qui ont été âgés et fermentés en œuf de ciment. Donc, ça donne une texture différente. C'est des vins absolument spectaculaires. Donc, à tout le monde en français, assurez-vous de toujours vous joindre à nous. Il y a toujours un petit peu de français qui vous suit. Donc, un gros merci. On switch en anglais again. And once again, we're back in English. Thanks again to our Francophone member all over the country members, because there's a lot now, more and more we hear from our Francophone members all across the country. So pretty cool to do a little bit of spot here in French here and there. So really enjoying that. So this week, narrative, Freeform, Bisou Yukon, also Haywire. Donc, this is 4 labels that we're going to talk about. So we have Jody. I don't want to butcher her last name. I think it's Gorski. So Jody is here from the winery. So if Mira can bring Jody in for me, here you go, Jody. Jody, good evening. How's it going? Oh, I didn't want to butcher your last name, so
it was close.
yeah, I know. I bet I'm not the last one, the first one, right?
No. Awesome. No, thank you so much for having me here. Really excited to be on Wine Wednesday with everybody and here with Carl and talk about some of the amazing wines that he's decided to feature for this month with the Wine Club. And yeah, excited to be here. So thank you so much for having me.
Dog, well, thanks for being here because, you know, you guys do so many great things across the valley that like no one talk really about. Like really talk about the owner, Christine, has been involved so much in the whole growth of the Okanagan wine industry. They're bringing so much to the table, especially in terms of science, in like in terms of study of the soil, in terms of new innovative way of farming, of winemaking. The Okanagan Crush Pad is at the forefront of all of these new way of doing things. So it's really exciting to be here and talk about it with you. So Jody, how long have you been with the Crush Pad?
Yeah, I've actually been here for just over a year right now. I started more in hospitality, and currently right now I'm doing direct-to-consumer wine sales. So I get to work with a lot of great people like Carl, and I manage some of the wine club as well here. So anything that's direct-to-consumer is me pretty much, yeah.
There you go. So I know that you know the story very well of the whole history of the Okanagan Crush Pad. So before we start to talk about the specific wines, how about you tell us a little bit about how everything started and the growth? Because the growth has been absolutely astonishing. Now owning like 400 acres of land across the valley, this is not a whole lot of wineries or a consortium who can pride themselves to own that much land and to farm the way that you guys are farming the fruit. So this, to me, it is a very key point of the conversation. It's the farming part of it. And we'll finish with the winemaking part because I think, to my opinion, it's my favorite part of all. But tell us a little bit about the start and the growth of the Okanagan Crush Pad.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, Okanagan Crush Pad was actually founded back in 2011. What happened was, you're correct, we have owners Christine Coletta, Steve Lorney. They actually purchased the property here on site back in 2005. And it was originally an orchard, and in 2011, they had turned it in and planted. So we're looking at our switchback vineyard, which is the one that's on site, our only estate vineyard here. That's 10 acres, and they've planted 6 acres of Pinot Gris, Clone 52, which is our only, again, estate grape that we have here on site. However, we do have a quite large vineyard out at Garnet Ranch, and that was special to us. That's a 320 acre site. We're looking at 50 acres right now of vines that have been planted, and that's continuing to grow. As you mentioned, we are a very innovative winery. We started off with a couple labels, and we've continued to grow. Our third label came, we released wines in 2017 with our Freeform, which is more of our natural wines, which we're going to talk a little bit about the Riesling, which is an option here in the pack as well. And then in 2020, we did come out with a Bisou and Yukon label. And for anybody that is unfamiliar with where that name has come from, the owners have 2 Pyrenees. And you'll see on a lot of the labels, they are on there as well. Trying to figure out this. You can see that. But actually,
Nope, not this one. Not this one. I got this one though.
There you go. The name of the dogs are called Bisou and Yukon, and this was something that was introduced that came out in 2020 in response to COVID-19 actually crisis, as a way to bring a little bit of fun and joy to people during this time, and also have a more affordable line, a little bit more whimsical with those fun labels. And we don't have too many blends, so this was an opportunity for them to kind of showcase some really beautiful organic blends in the portfolio as well. And they were innovative in terms of, they came out also with what we called hooches or pouches, sorry. And that was something that was really popular again over time, boating in the Okanagan, camping. They're actually plastic pouches, so it was easy to bring them along to those type of activities as well. So in terms of, going back to our, we're really focused on sustainability here, and I think that shows in our winemaking as well. Places like Garnet Valley Ranch Vineyard, which is super special to us. Before they even started planting there, they brought in actually an Italian winemaker who actually really, I think, geared and helped the vision of Christine and Steve to really want to bring so much concrete and start aging and fermenting things as well. You guys might know him. He does have some wines in the market named Pedro Para. And they also brought out a gentleman from Italy named Alberto Antonini, and they did a complete environmental impact assessment out on that vineyard, down to the soils, the types of plants, everything that's occurring there. And based on that, really decided together collectively on what they should be planting there and what would be suited best for that climate, soils, and elevation, as you had mentioned as well, Carl. So yeah, we're really excited about having those vineyards. We focus on, the more sustainable and organic side, so we don't use herbicides, pesticides, artificial fertilizers, and stuff like that as well out in the vineyard. We really want to promote healthy plants, and that helps build healthy vines, of course. And you'll also see when you come to visit some of our vineyards that we're not manicuring them or the lawns. We use a lot of cover crops as well, which really balances the nutrients in the soil and also helps maintain insects and keeps them away from the vines as well, which is really interesting. So yeah, it's a little bit.
It's all about the symbiosis between the vineyard and the nature and the environment where the vineyard is located. So it is just such a fantastic way of looking forward to the future. And my question is, do you guys are doing 100% organic growing, or you guys, and do you have is the certification has been in the back pocket now? Everything is 100% certified?
Yeah, so right now, with the vineyards that we own, so our Switchback in Garnet Valley, those ones are certified organic. So with the label for our narrative, we actually have grapes that are grown here throughout the valley, but also some of those are, they're planted on organic vineyards, but they might not necessarily be certified. And we contract some of those growers, but everything is 100% BC grown. Yes.
And you know what? And sometimes that's what we often have that conversation. Yeah, the certification is nice, but first and foremost, it's all about the philosophy, right? It's from top to bottom, from the owner to the workers to the winemaker. When everyone shares the same philosophy, the organic philosophy, nice to have the certification, but at some point, to me, I put much more weight into the philosophy than the paper.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, being an organic winery, we're following, again, not only just planting out in the vineyard and those strategies they're using in terms of farming, cover crops, like I had mentioned, but yeah, really having the wine shine in its most purest form in terms of winemaking. We have Matt Dumaine, who's our winemaker here, and he joins us from New Zealand. He's got over 30 years of vintages behind him, and he's been with the winery since 2013, I believe it is. And yeah, he really has a great vision and an act for watching these wines and really showcasing them and showing what we can do in the Okanagan as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think to me that's one of the most exciting part of the portfolio is you can discover different hidden gem of the valley, like to me, like the Seacrest Mountain Vineyard. brings such a different perspective from the south of the Okanagan. That's what Garnet Valley brings, and what's the Switchback Vineyard brings. So when you look at the whole portfolio, you get like a real taste of the whole valley in its own. And by using the, I would say, the style of winemaking that Matt is using in the, and like the concrete egg to preserve the purity of fruit. And like, to me, it's just a snapshot of each and every one parcels of land that you guys are working with. That's what's really, really excites me with what you guys are doing. I want to start with the Seacrest Mountain. First and foremost, because I'm a Chardonnay junkie. And like the term junkie, it's not overstated. I think our members know that from the beginning. I don't hide it. I love Chardonnays more than anything else. But this one hit me exactly at the right spot, brought me, and I can't smell the native yeast. I can smell when the wine is just naturally fermented, and I smell that one from the beginning. And I think that Chardonnay has so much to offer. It's just such a special Chard. Let's talk about Seacrest Mountain a little bit, where it's located and what does it brings in terms of the whole south of the Okanagan perspective.
For sure, absolutely. Yeah, with the Chardonnay, yeah, it's a really special one. I think this is also something we really love to, someone comes into the winery, maybe isn't a Chardonnay fan. We really love to pour this as a surprise. This is, an unoaked style. So I think people get quite, just surprised at, what kind of fruit you can get, but you can still have that beautiful creamy mouthfeel coming through on this. So in terms of Seacrest Mountain, it's 50-acre site. It's home to about 38 acres, I think, actually, of a vineyard. It's situated on a flat southwest facing bench, and that's in a really high mountain setting. I think it's around 487 meters above sea level, and it's a cooler site. It has flat alluvial soils, studded with coarse gravel, a little sandy loam. So some really interesting different layers happening in the soil there. That vineyard itself was planted back in 2000, and it had mainly, I believe, Chardonnay, Gewurz, Pinot Blanc, Pinot Gris, and Pinot Noir. And then, since about 2010 until 2021, we've been farming that under the direction of Okanagan Crush Pad. And really using a lot of those organic farming practices, which started in 2014 when it was certified. But the Chardonnay itself is absolutely beautiful, like you had mentioned, Carl. It's super fresh, really expressive. That wine itself, Chardonnay, is a whole bunch pressed into two egg-shaped concrete tanks. And it goes through a slow, natural ferment with malolactic. So it does have that natural, beautiful creaminess. For those of you that don't know what malolactic is, they're honestly just taking some of those more tart acids and stirring them on or left on a lees, and it creates this beautiful mouthfeel. So it makes them more creamier. And this wine, super rich, juicy bomb for a Chardonnay, and it is bottled unfiltered here as well.
Yeah, to me, that's the lemon meringue pie in a bottle. Like that's that creaminess of that lemon and the sweetness.
Absolutely.
Like to me, that natural fermentation brings such that like a nice caramel finish and a little bit of nuttiness as well. It hit the spot exactly where I was hoping for. This vintage is priming at the moment, like 2018 that we're featuring this week. It's at its peak. It's showing so amazingly. Anyway, I give it a 93 points. I was right on the verge of a 94. I love that wine. And the length to me It brings a little flinty minerality at the end. That's where it tagged me straight down to the vineyard. And I like that it's a cooler site. Sometimes wine from down south, from the other side of the bench, like sometimes can be a little hot and a little high in alcohol. This one has a balance that I absolutely, a freshness, and that work in concrete eggs just bring the purity of the fruit. So there's no oak interference. And don't get me wrong here, I'm not bashing against oak. I love my Chardonnays, or I love my wines when it's well used. I absolutely love a nice use of oak. I have nothing against that, but especially for Chard, because I love the purity of a Chardonnay grape. When it's worked with a concrete egg, I get that real typicity of Chardonnay in the bottle. It's just absolutely spectacular. So to the team and Matt that worked. Yeah, and I'm not the only one to absolutely dream about that wine. That's Jamie Good. They're very good. I love that writer from Britain. He is an absolute gem to listen and to watch on TV shows. And I guess that Christine must have a relationship with him or something like that. But I know what his last visit, he tasted that wine and he gave the Secret Mountain Chardonnay 2018 the exact same score that I gave him. He loved it at 93 points. So I kind of enjoy it, and I always score first, and after that I go check on the web if there's anyone. Sometimes if I'm a little bit off whack and I'm like, geez, I liked it that much, hopefully I'm not the only one, right? So so when I found that article and I was writing all of the results, I was like, okay, I'm bang on with the good one from the UK. So well done, Carl. I give myself a pat in the back for this one.
Love it.
So
Love it.
we have so we're not only featuring the 18 Chard from the same vineyard, but also the 19 Pinot Noir. I love what 2019 vintage brings to the table. After a little bit of a difficult 2018, 19 was such an outstanding, for me, such a great vintage. Very well balanced. There's not a whole lot of problem with smokes for 2019. There's a purity of 2019 fruits. And this is exactly what we're talking about. It's a Pinot Noir. I like kind of like the connection between a little bit of old world versus some new world aspect as well. And to me, when we talk about old world connecting with new world, it screams Okanagan to me. It's just that's what I think we can provide to Canadian wine lover. It's kind of a crossroad between the two worlds, and a fresh, bright acidity, but there's also a beautiful earthiness. And it's not a California fruit bomb Pinot Noir. That's not what it is. But there's also a nice purity, a nice earthiness, and a nice little spice at the end that I truly, truly enjoyed. So, yeah, what's your take on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I am a big Pinot Noir fan. I mean, I like a lot of wines, but Pinot Noir is just something that's special to me. You're right. I think this vintage is showing really great right now. You have that nice kind of fruit up front, some nice fresh berries. But it has that hint of mocha, which comes through, and a little bit more of that kind of delicate style of forest floor, if may. And I love when Pinots have a little bit of that earthy tone in it as well with the fresh fruit. This Pinot in particular, we're looking at it being destemmed into actually starting off in stainless steel open top fermenters, which are actually, if you can see, I don't know if you can see right behind me here, but the tanks that are right behind me with the burgundy tops, those are the open top fermenters. And it was, they used punch downs for this, and then it was pressed off and put into an Eco-Velo concrete cylinder. So this was also aged and bottled unfined, unfiltered, which I absolutely love. Yeah, it's a beautiful Pinot. It's got some really beautiful, bright acidity that shines through on this, but still at the same time a really nice silkiness on the tannin. So I do love it.
I think you mentioned something a key here. It's silkiness, and it's a common theme. It's a common theme that I found across the board in all of the across the board of the portfolio. And I always, when I try to describe the Okanagan Crush Pad in just a few words, textural always come back to mind to me, because that's what I find in pretty much all of the wine, even in the rosé that I had. Like, there's the texture in all of these wines, and this Pinot especially. And I love when I found like a precision in wine sometimes just doesn't mean exclusively laser focused and very directional. There's a precision of terroir, but there's also a creaminess, a silkiness. And yeah, this Pinot absolutely delivers these this textural approach. So it's, and to me, the concrete ferment brings a lot to that as well, and the leaves and all that. So
absolutely, absolutely. Well, I'm
so
glad that
I
you
had a
loved
great
it.
question. I have a great question here from Mike Laplante, who's a pretty cool YouTuber out of Ontario, and he does the Average Wine Enthusiast, and he has a pretty good following. He's a He's an active member of the club. Love that guy a lot. And so Mike just tuned in, and he was asking about who's the brainchild or behind the Okanagan Crush Pad. So if we can give a quick little recap about Christine and how did she started the Okanagan Crush Pad, would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so
Sorry.
Christine Coletta, she, yeah, very well known in the industry for the wine. You know, when they first started back in 2011, you know, it was, the idea I think was more so also they wanted to grow wine, but we also started off as a custom crush facility. As you know, we kind of continue to grow from there. You know, we are planting more grapes out at Garnet Valley Ranch, for example. We are slowly moving away from custom crush, but we were one of the first wineries in Canada that was doing it as well. Again, I think, you know, she had a lot of inspiration from those two gentlemen that I spoke about with earlier. You know, they met and really focused on how they wanted to build the winery, what their focus was, where they wanted to, you know, focus on aging and fermenting things in concrete. So she got a lot of great feedback, again, doing that environmental impact assessment, working with Pedro Para, who's another winemaker in Italy, and you know, growing organic grapes and making wines throughout the Okanagan here, like we said, that really just showcase who we are, the climate, and the type of wines that we can make here as well. So
And I think at the beginning, if I'm not mistaken, when Matt arrived on board in 2013 or something, Michael Bartier was still involved in the whole at the beginning, correct?
I believe so, yes. I'm a little foggy on that information, but yes, I believe you're correct.
Yeah. Well, Michael is a pretty well-known name in the south of the Okanagan. So, yeah, I think that Michael was involved at the beginning of the whole program as a consultant winemaker, or at least also helping into the winemaking process. But I know that Matt really brought his personality. And do you know about, like, what I'm interested about, I would like to talk before we switch on the narrative, now that we touched on the both Haywire, Seacrest Mountain, very highly rated. Another one that Jamie Good gave a 93 points. So he gave 93 to both of the Seacrest Mountain, the Pinot Noir and the Chardonnay from two different vintage. So I went with the 91 plus with the Pinot Noir. So very highly rated wines. Well priced single vineyard as well. So often when we taste a Chardonnay like that, I would say that, like, you go easily to the $45 mark. So, and that Chardonnay single vineyard from the Haywire, very well priced for what it delivers. So before we move to the narrative label, would like to talk about the fermenter, because to me it's I associate the crush pad a lot with concrete fermenter. And when did you, is it something that the pad used from the beginning, or was there an evolution? The way that you were talking about the beginning, I think the consultant winemaker from Italy brought the idea a little bit later on, but right now you guys did. There's not a whole lot of oak barrel in your air in your environment.
No. No, and I was hoping at some point, maybe, well, maybe now would be a great time, but I was hoping to kind of show you guys a video of how much concrete we actually have here. Again, I think we're one of Canada, well, Canada's only probably winery that is using concrete to the amount and capacity. So I was.
So you're mentioning Cannonball. So if I correctly heard you, it's Cannonball from California.
So right now we have actually some different kind of concrete here. Might be hard to see, but the ones that are right here behind me, those are what we call tulips. And we do have a lot of concrete that is actually coming from Nicovello in Italy. And we have some really giant cylinders, which might be more on my other side. Oh, no, probably can't see it. But some really giant cylinders of concrete. And then we also have these very cute little black concrete eggs that are actually coming from Sonoma in California. So we do have quite a variety of concrete on site. We do have some stainless steel open top fermenters and then larger stainless steel tanks as well. And a couple oak foudres, which are just a larger style of oak barrel on site as well. So, but our focus, correct, is concrete, and we definitely have a lot of it on site here that we're using. And I think something really unique with the concrete vessels as well is, well, they're very easy to maintain temperature and control temperatures during winemaking, but also I think something that I find really unique and interesting is that, well, a couple things. One, they kind of build up yeast on the inside of the concrete vessel itself. And with any other type of winemaking, whether it's oak or stainless steel, when you're cleaning those things, you're using a lot of hot water to really rinse it well and clean it. But with the concrete tanks, we're actually using more lukewarm water. And what happens is this amazing yeast starts to build up on the inside of these tanks. And this is something also that we're using again and again over different harvests when we're making wine. And it's a natural yeast that's forming inside there as well, which is really, really unique. And the thing that I love about it as well is with concrete, you can go from different white to red to rosé in there if you need to, where you wouldn't necessarily be able to do that with things like, because the color would bleed into your wine. So with concrete, it's really great because you could have a red wine fermenting in there, and the next time you could put a white in. And I think that also starts to add a lot of interesting flavor profiles to the wine, which is exciting.
It is really, 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 really exciting. I love the hope, and also provides such an amazing texturally, again, right? I come back with that terminology often, like the concrete with the porous concrete will help to develop that creaminess as well. So really, really exciting program that you guys have. I need to mention that I was part of the panel last year when you guys did a tasting at the winery with all of these mini fermenter with dirt from each and every single vineyard with wine aged from that very specific vineyard in the fermenter built with the dirt of that vineyard. So it was really unique to be part of that. And I don't think that there's a whole lot of people in North America who ever done that kind of exercise. It was really, really cool to be part of it.
Yeah, and I think again that's like they're so innovative here to do something like that. It's amazing because Steve Lorney had a background in concrete. So being able to create these cubes, like you said, digging that soil up from each vineyard specific and aging, a similar varietal that's there being grown and how it changes in style over, depending on what it's being aged in. It's really, really unique to see how that changes, and it is, you know, based on soils. And you know, for someone like myself with a geography background, I love that soil and climate and how that affects you know, winemaking and growing grapes. I think it's really unique how those flavors can really be brought through and shine when winemaking. So yeah.
True definition of terroir, the true definition of terroir. No,
Yeah,
absolutely, right? When we talk about full circle, that's, to me, that's my real definition of terroir. So really cool. Let's talk a little bit about the narrative. So we have in the pack the 2018 Syrah with a very healthy amount of Viognier in there, 80-20. You know, usually if you refer back to the old world, let's do that again, eh? So from the south of France, the northern Rhone Valley, that's where the classic Syrah Viognier come from. Well, usually, well, you'll see a 94-6, 96-4 split in terms of percentage. Sometimes you go all the way up to 8 or 10, but this is a really healthy amount of Viognier. So where's the idea come from to bring that much of Vio into that blend? But I have to say, I rated 92 points. I love the aromatic coming out of that. Oh my God. With the nose, when you pour the first glass, like when I poured it in the decanter, I just thought that the decanter will explode. It was just so aromatic. So yeah, tell us a little bit more about that wine, because I was really pleased.
absolutely. Yeah, I think this is you know, a great classic, like you said, grown varietals, but grown here in the Okanagan. The Syrah itself, you know, is such, I feel like, an Okanagan staple in terms of varietal. It's a red that's really incredibly suited to our soils out here as well. For this one in particular, it's co-fermented with Viognier. And what they do is they actually put this in a clay amphora. So you do have that really, in the clay amphora, and it's left on its skins for 9 months. So you do get a really beautiful, dark, rich color coming out of this as well. And it enhances, that clay amphora is enhancing the aromatics of this, but it is really making, again, that really kind of silky mouthfeel, which I love on this blend. But the Syrah naturally has that beautiful spicy little note that you're mentioning as well. And I think it really showcases a lot of beautiful, rich red fruits on this. You know, in terms of the Viognier, I think it's a really great balance in the percentage that they decided to go with. It really does exemplify this type of blend. And it's kind of a different little bit of a twist, I think, to find here out in the Okanagan. So a little bit different.
The Northern Rhone blend on steroid. Boom! The Okanagan way. I love it. And you mentioned something that is so true. And to me, more I talk to people across the country, you know, the Syrah, it's one of the grapes that we do best here in the Okanagan. The quality of our Syrah, it's becoming world known right now. Like we are right at the top of the list where when it's time with Australia, with the south of France, in terms of quality of our Syrah. It's sad that we cannot produce that. We don't produce that much in terms of quantity, but that the quality is like it's so high. So I love that wine. Again, texturally, you have that creamy texture. The mid palate of that is just an absolute bag of surprise. Like lots of red fruit, raspberry, like ripe raspberry. There's a little bit of plum in the back end, but the clove, cinnamon. It's not all on cracked pepper. It's spicy, but more on a Christmas spice maybe, but a little bit of white pepper will linger for a long time. Yeah, there's a nice complexity and purity. There's no waves of oak in any way, shape, or form, because there's none in there. It's just, but the texture, the absolute beautiful creamy texture. just stick with me every time. Like I often, when I'm talking about a textural wine, I always have one wine in mind. It's the Spadefoot Toad Syrah that Summerhill Pyramid made. It's from a very single vineyard, very special single vineyard from the south of the Okanagan, and the texture, it's like that wine year in and year out. It's always like it's like so fluffy in your mouth that you barely never find that kind. And the narrative brought me back to that kind of texture a little bit. There's a creaminess, and on top there's a purity of the fruit. So I'm just loving that $27, but no, 20 like now with the price of the Syrah by the ton. It's hard to find a Syrah under $30. It's really hard. And to find a 92-point Syrah under $30, it's even harder. So we've got a great package here, value, and also it over delivers so much for $27. I absolutely love that. It screams barbecue to me. It's just scream like the New York strip loin and nice peppery crust. And what I love with that, the purity of that is just cut through the fat. It's not a big fatty Syrah. It's very straight to the point. So I enjoy the style a lot. So this is for the 18, and it's important to note as well. 18 was a smoke, a wildfire affected vintage, and all of your 2018 wines are very clean. So this, especially that Syrah, clean. Zero, like I have no perception of smoke whatsoever. In the profile of it, so really clean wine. So often I have members asking me when it's 2018, so how's the smoke taint in there? No, really clean. So I'm super pleased with that $27 Rockstar Syrah.
Awesome.
Also the rosé, 50-50 split, nice rosé. Let's stick with the narrative. Rosé, Gamay Pinot Noir. Fruit, where the fruits are from? Is it from the home estate, or it's from the Garnet Valley? From where does the fruit come from?
This one, actually, that's a good question.
Sometimes I ask too much questions.
You got me.
Yeah, he's like, darn, Carl, why do you have to ask? Not a big deal. I know it's good and it's creamy.
Oh my gosh. I would say, there's potential that the Gamay came from potentially Seacrest or out at Garnet, but actually, there's potentials for it coming from more up north as well, more Kelowna area. I actually don't know 100%, so I'm not going to clarify that. I apologize.
No, please don't. I'm sorry for putting you on the spot here. No, what's important to me, it's more about the fermentation, how, like the whole process. Is it a bleed? Is it the bleed? Is it a press? And what's the process on that rosé?
This one, if I'm correct, again, we just rolling over to this one in the new portfolio. This will be pressed on the skins, and I believe it was a pretty short time frame. Don't quote me on this. I think it was something like 12 hours, maybe. So lightly pressed, getting that kind of beautiful, kind of pale salmony pink coming through on this. And with that blend of Pinot Gamay, again, really nicely, lots of fresh berries coming through on this. Fermented with a natural yeast as well, and then put into concrete. So you do still have that nice creamy mouthfeel and texture going on. A little maybe slight savor aspect, but lots of that kind of fresh fruit, tropical salad kind of coming through. Beautifully dry rosé. I think there's some people that maybe, think of rosés more as Zinfandels, and I think the more we educate people on rosés, and this one's beautifully dry, And you know, it's something you could kick back and enjoy on a beautiful summer day on a patio quite easily.
Yeah, and a nice reflection of the Okanagan, because there's that bright acidity and nice creaminess, berry, but there's also that sage and that fresh herb that comes up
Exactly.
right after the mid palate. And you mentioned that savory aspect. It's not just a fruit salad in a glass. There's that second layer of complexity, and to me, that's that herbaceousness, that nice fresh herbs who comes up after the mid palate to bring that complexity and makes it the perfect match for a lot of summer dish. Like, you know,
Yeah.
everything like chilled seafood,
Absolutely.
nice summer salad, like these kind of dish with that just brings so much to the table. And also it's easy drinking, bone, but not bone dry, but really dry. It's not the sweet, typical that I don't want to drink type of sweet rosé. So yeah, well done. Enjoy that one. 2020, you know, it's not the fresh vintage, but I think this wine shows better now than it was early on last year. Now there's that, I feel like everything came together, and there's at least another year and a half in front of it without fading. Like everything came together so well now. This rosé shows really beautiful at the very moment.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
so we touched base on the Bisou Yukon a little bit at the beginning, because now it's wow, we're talking way too much, Jody. It's crazy. It's already 5:55. Sorry for keeping you that long.
No,
Uh,
it's okay.
I just want to talk about. So we did Seacrest Mountain. Let's do one thing that I want to touch base on. It's the Freeform program, um, because you like or you don't like. It's a little bit geeky, bordered geeky, that we don't do quite often. With you know, with 7,000 members, we try to find wines who goes right down the middle, can please everyone. But this one, I couldn't help myself because, and when I tasted a few of the Freeform, I was like, no, too weird, too geeky. I can't feature that. Like there were some of them I enjoyed a lot, but I said, no, I can't explain that to Joe in the territories or to someone central. It's just too much, right? So, but when I told Mira, I think there's one Freeform who will knock our socks off. It has to be the Rieslings. And
Yeah.
that was before Riesling Day. When I cracked that Riesling and it finished in my top 5 out of almost 40 Rieslings.
Yeah.
And this wine was my biggest surprise of Riesling Day. You know, I knew that Sue-Ann Staff was a Riesling wizard out of Ontario. When I knew I had a 2008 Riesling, I knew it would be good. I think some of the wine I opened, I knew exactly what to expect. Going into that one, I had no clue what to expect. And holy moly. So we're talking natural wine here. So if you want to explain a little bit more of what's making natural wine under the Freeform labels mean, and what's the
Yeah.
parameter of natural for you guys?
Yeah, well, it is an exciting label to have on the portfolio. I agree, it's potentially not for everyone's palates, and that's totally fine. I'm like you, I absolutely love this label with the Freeform. So 0 to low intervention of these. So what's happening is the grapes are coming in. Anything that, you know, the yeast that's naturally on the skin is what we use during winemaking. They're honestly allowing the wines to ferment on their own, so they're not adding anything into winemaking for these. And then what happens is when they are ready and they're actually bottling these unfiltered and unfined. So it's super normal to see some of these labels and wines that might be a little bit more cloudier. They might have some more kind of sediment and yeast that hang out in the bottom of your bottle. I love to give them a good old shake before I open them up and really stir it all up again. And they're just really unique textured wines as well. We have a couple of the aromatic whites in the label that actually have some really interesting skin contact, and they almost drink like a more of a tannic red, which is really interesting and funky and weird, and we love it. So everything from the Freeform even down to the label, which is really unique. They decided to make these with stone, they're called stone paper labels. So they're more sustainable as well. And this Riesling in particular, I agree, it is absolutely beautiful. This is coming from Garnet Valley Ranch, the vineyard I talked about. It's sitting on some amazing soils out there, so some volcanic matter, again, that sandy loam, granite, limestone, lots of beautiful minerality for something like this Riesling. Out there,
A boatload of minerality at the end. That is just like,
yes.
yeah, there's so much going on the finish of that wine.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, the interesting thing with Garnet Valley is that the different blocks really do vary quite a bit because different elevation happening out there. And for this one in particular, you know, this is all certified organic Riesling grapes. This was planted back in 2015 out at Garnet Valley Ranch, and the grapes come in, they're a whole bunch pressed. They go straight into stainless steel tanks, giving it that really bright, beautiful acidity on this. They're using the wild yeast fermentation, and then they're actually aging this for 6 months in stainless steel. And then it's bottled and left in the cellar for, I think, about a year before they actually release this. And it's got that beautiful mouth-watering acidity happening, beautifully balanced with some really nice tropical and candied fruits going on. So yeah, this is a really special one to be showcasing in the package for you guys.
And you know, and I think you nailed it, and with two aspects here. It's the candy fruit paired with the bright acidity and the flinty minerality finish. These three aspects combined together, and in the cellar for a year to allow the whole thing to come together. It's not segmented. It's not, you know, sometimes wines are choppy. And no, this is all so well put together. I have a blast tasting that. There's a complexity, and the wine evolve in your glass for 3-4 hours. I enjoyed that wine room temperature more than any of the other Riesling that I had opened that day, because that wine a little bit more cellar temperature instead of being cold has so much coming out of it. So yeah, this wine is an experience on its own. Absolutely blew my socks off. So at the end of the day, you guys have a big portfolio. We worked on that specific 8 wine selection for quite a long time, back and forth. I think the key for me was to go and find the specific gem in each and every label. And I love that selection. I just love the 6th discovery wine, but also the two of the bonus picks. So Jody, it's so great to work with you, to learn more about this such an amazing project that you guys, it's right in our backyard here in Summerland. And I just want to send so much people to your way so they can see all of these fermenter. When you get to the tasting room, you get in there, and the thing that you see, it's concrete everywhere. It's just so unique. It's not, and the view of the lake, and then when you get in the vineyard, when you get to the driveway, there you go. Thank you, Mira. These are so cool. And when you're in Summerland, and just, there you go, the view over the lake, and when you get to the driveway, everything is just so special. So the Okanagan Crush Pad, Canadian wine lovers, is a place to see. The wines are so fantastic. So available until tomorrow night, and maybe over the weekend. We'll see what we're deciding here. But Jody, You and your team are absolutely world class. Thank you so much for spending your Wednesday late afternoon, early evening with us. We greatly appreciate what you've done.
Yeah,
Thank you
great.
so much.
Thank you for having me. And yeah, we hope you guys enjoy the wine section. And we're online always if you want to ever explore any more of the portfolio. But yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been really blast. It's been a great blast chatting to you and going over a little bit more of the wines. And I hope everyone has a great evening.
Hey, Jody, talking about more of the portfolio. Friday, it's International Sauvignon Blanc Day. I'm going to go live for 4 hours and I'm doing a Sauvignon Blanc report, a BC Sauvignon Blanc report, all of it. Just wondering, do you have the SB kicking around?
Which one, sorry?
Sauvignon Blanc.
Sauvignon Blanc, yes. So we do have the Freeform Sauvignon Blanc. Again, more of a our natural wine. I love that one. It's super tropical. So yeah, if you wanted to include that one, let me know. I'd love to add it to the lineup.
It's such a big detour for me to swing by the winery. Hey, Mira, how are you doing? Thank you for picking up the boys at soccer. So did you have a chance to listen to what we were saying about the wines?
Yeah, a little bit. Jody, thank you so much. Joan is saying thanks from Saskatchewan, I think. Mike's saying thanks from Ontario. So yeah, we really appreciate your time, Jody. And I did get to hear bits and pieces, and I can't wait to visit in person really soon. Seeing as you're just down the road from us now.
Awesome.
So. Yes. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
Hope you enjoy
Thank
your
you,
evening.
Jody. We have a good rest of your evening, and we'll chat tomorrow.
Bye.
So
that was cool. Hey,
the Okanagan Crush Pad available until tomorrow night, guys. Like, if you never heard about the brand, about the name, it's worth trying. This is an absolute gem of a winery. So yeah,
and I'm really glad we discovered them. They have a lot of different wines, and Jody was super generous. She let us try like tons of them.
I know, and that's what I was saying, right? To go pick and choose among all of these wines, it was like, I think the best part of it, like to came up with these 6 was just so much fun.
Yeah.
Totally. What's your favorite of the whole thing? Oh. What's Mira's wine in there?
I really like the Syrah because it was, like you were saying, it has that Viognier in it, and it was so tropical. I love violets, like in real life, not just in my wine smelling. And so I love that bursting aroma and flavors in that Syrah. It was lovely.
Awesome. I think that you guys know me a little.
And the Riesling. Oh my God, that's good.
Yeah. The Riesling was to me, the Seacrest Mountain Chardonnay. It's stock up on that wine. It's the hidden gem of the Okanagan. Holy moly! And I wrote it in my tasting note. You guys know how much we love the Pearl Morissette 2017 Cuvée 19e, and it's the only Okanagan wine who got me a little bit of reminiscence of that. It's that natural fermentation, that wild ferment that comes up at the beginning, and it's like it just took me back to Pearl Morissette for a few seconds.
Yeah.
So yeah, that Seacrest Mountain Chardonnay is my rock star in there. I'm definitely going to be late for baseball tonight. I'm looking at the time here.
I don't think you need to be that late. Let's just wrap it up and give a little sneak peek for those of you guys that are still on here about our upcoming member reunions, because we are finally going to meet up in person. We started Carl's Wine Club during the pandemic, guys, and you guys all helped us get through it, because every Wednesday we were here and many of you were here, and I feel like I've hung out with you guys more than I've hung out with my family over the last couple of years. So I'm so excited to meet some of you in person. So it's June 3rd, Caledon, BC. Black Market Wine Co. is the Members' Choice Party location. And June 24th for Niagara, Ontario at Bellaterra Vineyards.
There you go. Ticket on sales. Tickets are going to be available for purchase this Friday on Carl's Wine Club VIP.
And starting
And
Saturday for the general membership.
yeah, because we have a very special library tasting. So a library vertical tasting for a very small amount of people available for Black Market and also Bellaterra, who's going to be conducted at Black Market in person by Rob. We're going to taste 5 vintage of the syndicate from 19. Wait a minute, Carl, settle down. We're going to taste from 2014 to 2019, all side by side of the syndicate. Rob's going to do the presentation, and we're going to have a walk in the vineyard after. So we'll have 16 seats available for that. And also that night, a fantastic party that we're going to have at Black Market. So I can't wait. Savoring stations, tractor picture on the tractor, meet and greet.
And the chance to actually have dinner in a vineyard. Very
meet and greet. What about the meet and greet with the Bellaterra people? Because our Ontario people are flying over here in BC to party with us. So it's going to be a heck of a party.
And then the crazy thing is, Rob and Michelle, owners of Black Market, are going to fly out to be at the Bellaterra party on June 24th. This is how awesome our wineries that we picked are. This was their idea to go to each other's winery. So really cool.
Ticket on sale on Friday for the VIP on Carl's Wine Club Facebook group. First and Saturday, an email is going to be sent to everyone where you can purchase ticket for the evening for the Bellaterra, the Black Market party. Sorry, I got the hiccup.
And then I guess what's important to know is if you are planning to come to one of those 2 parties, there's the vertical tasting beforehand, which is for less people, like 18 people for the vertical tasting, and then anywhere from 50 to 140 for each event for the actual party reunion. And then we'll also have a small
the BC one. It's only for 60 though. For the Bellaterra.
That's what I meant. Yeah,
for
so the BC and 140 or 150 in Ontario. And then the day before, so June 2nd and June 23rd, they're Thursdays. We're gonna do a Carl's Wine Club style winery tour for a small group of whoever would like to do that as well. And Carl's Wine Club style means it's not like a quick in and out, taste some wines. It's, meet the winemaker, get some yummy food with the wines, and go behind the scenes and really get a feel for what that winery is all about. It's super fun.
There you go. So now I need to put the baseball gear on because we're off to baseball.
Mr.
So Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, all of you guys, thank you for joining us tonight again. This is the Okanagan Crush Pad Weeks with an outstanding 6-pack Discovery Pack available and couple bonus pick available until tomorrow. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Mira Boucher, thanks for joining me.
Thank you all. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Good night.